tuning in. This is OPTIBOTIMUS coming to you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a closer look at the new Hot Toys Movie Masterpiece Series 250 of Gamora from the Guardians of the Galaxy. For the package, you can see a really nice image of Zoe Saldana as Gamora right here on the front, with a very kind of retro 80ish kind of look and feel in terms of the coloring on it, especially with the very neon pink used to make a G. Now, does that stand for Guardians or Galaxy or Gamora? Who knows? But for the package, you can see, like I said, you got a nice image there. It wraps around with this really cool greenish star field. Come around here to the back of the figure, and you got the various warnings and things of that nature. As well as on the corner here, you do see the Ravagers logo, which is pretty cool. Then you just slide this up like so, and on the inside here you have the clamshell that holds the figure within. But what I really like is they actually also put the details here along the side that resemble how all the Guardians looked when they were in prison. I think that's a really cool little touch, and just something that's a nice little added bonus. You got the MMS 250 Gamora there. On the back here you have the cast and crew responsible for making this figure. Really a very simple package, but it's cool. I like it in the fact that, you know, it has a very strong character feel to just the package. I really do dig that. So for the packaging though, that's about it. But we're not here to see the packaging, so let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Gamora open up and out of her packaging, and I'm really very pleased with how this figure turned out. But there are a few things that I wish were done differently. Now, starting off with her accessories first, as you can see, this is basically it. Now, in addition to her two relaxed hands that are currently on the figure, she comes with two additional pairs of hands. One being just the closed fist. As you can see, some really nice detail in here. Coming in to take a look at that, you can see some really nice paint detail that's actually on there, including some nice rings that are sculpted in there and painted nicely on her actual hand. I mean, I really dig it. But you can see just a standard closed fist, and then in addition to that, she comes with two hands that are designed to actually hold her swords. And again, that same amount of detail in terms of the really nice green paint. You've got the molded hand straps right here that carry on to the piece that goes up her forearm, but you'll see that here in a little bit. But you also got the very nice molded and silver painted rings, and you got some little rings right down there. Just some really good detail on here that comes across extremely nicely, I think. And then of course you have her sword. Now this is the collapsed version of it, and you can see some really great detail molded in there. You got a really nice black wash that kind of highlights those details on the actual piece itself, and then a really nice, very vibrant silver paint. But as I said, this is the collapsed version. She does come with her extended version, and as you can see, I mean, it's basically the same thing, except this is the extended blade. And again, that wonderful silver paint carries through on the extended piece, as well as the nice black paint for the details, just bringing those out. It really very cool looking, very simple, but very nice nonetheless. Now, the other thing that she comes with is her display stand, which is a really neat new kind of update to the standard display stand. As you can see, the base of it nicely resembles the floor in the prison that the Guardians were taken to in the actual film. I like that. I think that's a nice little touch. Gives it a unique kind of look to it. And then you do have the adjustable cradle, just like so. Nothing really all that different with that. But for the accessories, that's unfortunately it. She's really light on them, and I kind of wish that she came with more, but in watching the movie again and trying to see the different things that she used, she really didn't have a lot of accessories. I mean, she is her own basic weapon in the fact that she's a very skilled assassin. One thing that I would have liked included, because she's that sort of assassin kind of character, I probably would have preferred a dynamic stand, so that you can actually, instead of having just this standard one, you could get her in some really cool wicked poses. But I guess that's why Hot Toys sells the dynamic flight stand, or whatever they call it, separately. You can buy one of those if you wish, and kind of use that to really put Gamora in some of her more, I guess, dynamic looks that she had in the movie. I mean, she's very acrobatic, and I think a stand like that really would have helped to kind of enhance this figure in terms of display purposes. But obviously the most important part of this set is the figure itself. And Hot Toys has done another terrific job of capturing the likeness and putting it into plastic form. Zooming in to take a look at the portrait itself, I really do feel that Hot Toys nailed the likeness of Zoe Saldana in this. I mean, Zoe is an absolutely gorgeous woman, and I really think that they nailed it with the way that the sculpt here is. It's really quite impressive. I love the actual detail and the paint that they got with the silver for the actual markings on her head. And again, when you look at that portrait, it nails it, I think. One thing though that I don't like, despite the fact that it absolutely looks like Zoe Saldana, is that I really don't like the expression. It's very blank and very plain. I wish they kind of put the expression that was on that package where she was actually smirking a little. I think that would have been a much better overall look for the figure itself. Coming down a little bit more, one thing also that I don't like, and I typically don't focus in on this too much, but I really do feel that the chest area for this figure is a little bit too voluptuous, I would say. It really does look like they reused the main body of something like their Catwoman figure or maybe even their Black Widow. It doesn't have that same accuracy that I really think that the actress has. Now, she does have this real fabric hair, which some collectors don't particularly like. You can see it's a really cool look with the very dark coloring up here, and then as it comes down, it fades into this purplish red. One of the things that I don't particularly like is, I mean, it's hard to see, but you got a lot of these little strands that kind of stick out. It doesn't look so bad here on camera because the strands of hair are so tiny, it just completely disappears. So the hair doesn't look all that bad, but it is a little bit frayed, and I don't really like that. I do understand why they did it, and I'm glad that they did. I just really wish that they had a better way of getting it to look. I mean, I've seen Barbie dolls that you can buy at Toys R Us from Mattel that have better looking hair than this. And that kind of bums me out. I mean, you can brush it, you can comb it, and then you can put some gel in there to kind of get it how you want, but it's a pain in the butt. One thing that I do find funny, again, coming up here to the top and zooming into the head, you can actually see that molded here at the top, you have her little widow's peak. That's actually part of the sculpt there. That's not actually her hair or anything like that. That's kind of funny. And then coming down again, you look at the suit, really nice fake leather kind of material right there around the actual torso. You got the netting come around here to the side, and you can see it goes through, and you can see the torso still, which is, again, very accurate, very cool how they were able to actually recreate that. Coming down here, you have her belt, which on the side, getting her hand out of the way, you can see that she's got the little holster for her collapsed version of her sword, and it just fits in there. Oh, it goes like this. Fits in there very nicely, just kind of sits along on the inside there. Doesn't really clip in or anything like that, but stays there very nicely. And you can leave that right there as just a, you know, relaxed kind of display purpose or something like that. But continuing down, you can see, again, you know, that really nice fake leather material carries on with that really cool metallic blue print on there, and then you come all the way down, you see her boots, which look absolutely terrific if you ask me. I love the way that they look. They're very bulky and, again, very accurate to how her boots looked in the actual film itself. Now, the way that the boots are does limit the articulation. It is still there, but it is more limited because this is all basically one piece. But the amount of detail, like I said, is just absolutely terrific on this. The likeness is absolutely spot on. I'm just really not a very big fan of the expression on her face. Like I said, it's just very blank. Now, for her articulation, getting her off the stand, you can see that the head is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion there. You can mess up the hair doing it, but you can get her looking way far down there if you want to, way far up. She does have a joint here down in her neck that allows for a little bit more range of motion. The upper body here is this soft, rubbery kind of material that a lot of the female bodies have, but then her arms, when you come down to them, they're also a rubber material as well. It gives you that seamless kind of look. Now, I like the way it looks, but I think over time it could cause some problems, especially if you leave the hands bent like this, and they tell you not to do it, and I can absolutely see why. I mean, when you leave it like that, it could cause a crease or something like that, and that's really, I'm just kind of, I'm petting her to kind of keep her hair in a decent look. So it's a cool look, but again, I don't think that it comes across really all that great in terms of durability, and that's very unfortunate. But for the articulation, articulation there. You can rotate fully 360 degrees there at the arm. They move in, they move out. You can bend them here at the elbow at about 90 degrees. Oh, this piece fell out. Just set that off to the side. You can bend it about 90 degrees. It tells you not to really bring it in much further than that. And then it does rotate inward. It's not supposed to rotate out. That's about as far. You're not really supposed to force that, but you have that range of motion where you can rotate it in, just not out. Now you can kind of angle this out like that and kind of get it out of the way, but it is a little bit more limited, and that's just the way that these arms are designed, and that's kind of unfortunate. Upper ab crunch, it's underneath that rubberized material as well. Come down here, it feels like she's got a lower waist joint, but not, again, really all that flexible because of the way that the body is. The hips move forward, they move back, but again, the material here kind of limits that, but you get it moving about that far. So maybe, well, no, yeah, I mean, you can stretch it, and this material feels very stretchy, so it doesn't feel like it's going to damage or anything. This piece right here just kind of sits up here and kind of uses friction around her actual thigh to stay up there. So it occasionally falls, but maybe in terms of the articulation, that's why they decided not to include the dynamic stand, because while the articulation is pretty much all there, some of the posing options are kind of limited. She does rotate at the upper part of the thigh. She's got two joints here at the knee, and then for the ankle, you really are kind of locked. You can move it a little bit, but not much. I mean, you can see that in bending it, you can kind of position it where it'll stay like that. You can bend it outward, it'll stay like that, but that's really about it. So the best you're going to do is do it like this, where it's going to be bent so that her feet are flat down on the ground. And that's fine. I think that works pretty decently. I mean, you can get her standing here fairly well, and I mean, her hair is deciding to go all sorts of crazy here, but I think overall, when it comes to it, it really is a great figure that, because of some of the, and I kind of like keeping her hair kind of off to the side like that, some of the design choices I think kind of hurt things. But it's a great piece, and if you're collecting Marvel figures or Guardian of the Galaxy figures, and I forgot to mention that she does have wrist articulation, very standard, just like all the other figures. But if you are collecting Marvel figures, specifically also the Guardian of the Galaxy ones, Gamora is one that you need to have. Really, all of them are terrific, and I'm going to get them all. I'm waiting on Star-Lord, but Gamora is a great piece that, as a Marvel fan or Guardians fan, is going to look great in a display. So if this is one that you're interested in, as a Guardians of the Galaxy fan or even a Marvel fan, she is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You go to Sideshow where you can pick her up and add her to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been OPTIBOTIMUS. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/OPTIBOTIMUS. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at OPTIBOTIMUSreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own OPTIBOTIMUS t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.